Hey guys, today we're going to talk about the Samsung Galaxy AirPods Pro or the Buds 3 Pro and their uncanny resemblance to the Apple AirPods Pro. Let's find out more. So indeed, these are Samsung's latest Galaxy Buds 3 Pro, and they deviate quite a lot from the previous design, and they now look very much like the AirPods Pro, whether it's in the case that looks very similar, or the buds themselves, which now have a stem, or what Samsung calls a blade, which is very similar to that of the AirPods. Now, a lot of people are criticizing Samsung for copying the AirPod design. I don't really think of it that way. To be honest, I really like the stem design of the AirPods. And as far as I'm concerned, if there's a design that works and gives you a good experience, I'd rather companies adopt that design rather than be creative and create new designs that simply don't offer that good of an experience. So I don't really have a problem with the Buds 3 Pro looking a little bit like the AirPods, but that was an interesting move on Samsung's part. Now, while they do look somewhat similar to the AirPods, they do have some distinguishing features, starting with the case, which has a transparent or a translucent upper cover, which when closed, you can still see the buds inside, and you can also see the light strip on these buds, which is another distinguishing feature of these buds. So indeed, Samsung has decided to create two LED strips on the buds themselves, which you can turn on if for whatever reason you wanted your buds to be lit, but also they flash to indicate that they are connected, or if you use the Find My, these light up as well to help you find them. I question the utility behind these. It's more of an aesthetic thing for me. I don't really care about these lights or don't imagine myself having them turned on. But maybe this was Samsung's attempt at slightly differentiating their design from that of the AirPods. And the fact that they now have a stem, or I should say a blade, means the way you interact with these is also different and is now somewhat the same as interacting with the AirPods via that touch sensor on the stem, which you can swipe up and down to control the volume similar to the AirPods, or you can pinch and press once, twice, or 3 times for different commands. There's another way you can interact with these buds, which is via voice commands. Now, this is not exclusive to Samsung. The AirPods, of course, you can also use Siri to interact via voice commands by asking Siri to increase the volume or skip a track or pause the music. But Samsung's implementation, in my opinion, is a bit better because you don't need a wake word to trigger those commands. All you have to do is simply say volume up or next song or pause music, and the buds will promptly react without the need to say a wake word, which I found quite nice and actually works pretty well. Beyond that, the fit is quite good. They're very comfortable as well in your ear, and the touch sensor works quite well. Now let's talk about the sound quality, and they actually sound really, really good. These now have a dual amplifier, so there's a two-way speaker, both a woofer and a tweeter, and there's also adaptive EQ based on how they sit in your ear. So if you have a less than perfect fit, or if they're moving around in your ear, in theory, there are sensors and microphones that are constantly analyzing things and adjusting dynamically the EQ accordingly. Now, there's no way for me to test that or to even see if it makes any difference. We just have to trust Samsung that they're doing that. But what I can say is they sound really, really good. Now, what's different from the AirPods is that you don't only get that dynamic automatic EQ, but there's also a custom EQ in case you want to tailor the way they sound to your taste, which we'll see in a bit in the app. They also have 24-bit 96 kilohertz audio, but that only works with compatible phones. So in terms of how they sound, I was actually really impressed. I thought they sounded really good. They have really good lows without them being overpowering. The mids and the highs are very balanced, very clear, and to be honest, they were really a joy to listen to. Moving on to transparency mode or ambient mode. And here as well, I was very impressed with their implementation. Now, again, as with the AirPods, they now have adaptive ambient mode, which constantly analyzes the sounds around you and varies the ANC or the noise cancellation levels if there are loud sounds. So if you're walking down the street and there's a lot of noise, the buds are going to increase the noise cancellation. But then if you walk into a quiet room, you're going to have more transparency or ambient sounds let in. And for the most part, that worked really well. And the transparency mode or the ambient mode is also quite impressive. It's very natural, and I think Samsung did a really good job at that. And then there's the noise cancellation, which again, I thought was really good. But here again, there's something a bit different or more than what you can get with the AirPods. You have variable ANC. So in the wearable app, you can actually adjust the level of noise cancellation, similar to what you get with the likes of Bose, for example, where you have that variable noise cancellation levels. In terms of battery life, with noise cancellation off, you get up to 7 hours and up to 30 hours with the case. With noise cancellation on, you get up to 6 hours and up to 26 hours with the case, which is not bad. The Buds 3 Pro have an IP57 rating, which is pretty good and a step up from the Buds 2 Pro. So with the IP rating, the first digit, 5 in this case, is the ingress protection. So that's the protection against dust, which the Buds 2 Pro did not have. So this part is better. The water resistance, 7 in this case, is the same as the Buds 2 Pro, but it's actually better than the AirPods Pro, which have an IP54 rating. So on the water resistance level, the 4 means the AirPods Pro are not waterproof, but rather water resistant. But the 7 in the 57 rating of the Buds 3 Pro means that they can survive being submerged in water. Now, obviously, I wouldn't recommend you go swimming in these, but if accidentally they fall into a body of water, they should survive. Now, there are a few other features of the Buds 2 Pro, like the ability to connect to compatible Samsung TVs, but that only works with TVs from 2022 and onwards. But more interestingly, there's the live translation, which unfortunately, at least at this time, only works with the Z Flip 6 and the Z Fold 6, which I don't have, so I was not able to test that out. But what this does is gives you live translation in your ear. So if you're having a conversation with someone in a different language, you're gonna get live translation of whatever they're saying right into your ear, which is really nice, but to be seen how effective and accurate that is. Now, another improvement that Samsung has done with the Buds 3 Pro is in the call quality. They have 3 microphones on each bud to constantly analyze the ambient sounds and the sound of your own voice. And with AI, they try to isolate your voice from that of the background. So let's give those a test to see how they sound like. So this is what the Samsung Galaxy Buds 3 Pro sound like in a quiet environment. These are the Galaxy Buds 3 Pro, and this is what they sound like in a quiet environment. Now I'm going to do a stress test by introducing a lot of background noise by turning on this loud vacuum cleaner. So this is what the Samsung Buds 3 Pro sound like with a very loud vacuum cleaner running in the background. Now you probably cannot hear the vacuum cleaner. Let me switch to the camera's microphone. And this is how loud the vacuum cleaner actually is. And this is how impressive the Galaxy Buds 3 Pro are in canceling out the loud sound of the vacuum cleaner. Now let's head outside for a real-life loud environment test on a busy street. So this is what the Galaxy Buds 3 Pro sound like in a very loud and also windy, as you can see, environment. I'm right next to a highway. There are cars passing by all around me. It's quite loud over here. Let me switch to the iPhone's microphone so you can hear how loud it actually is. And this is how loud the environment actually is over here. And again, back to the Galaxy Buds 3 Pro, and this is what they sound like in a loud, noisy, and windy environment. Let me know in the comment section what you thought about the performance of the Galaxy Buds 3 Pro in a loud environment. And now let's take a look at the different settings or customizations that you get in the wearable app. So there's a couple of things that you can customize. Of course, you have the different modes. You can turn noise cancellation completely off. You can turn on ambient sound or transparency mode. You can have adaptive sound on, and of course, you can have ANC or active noise cancellation. And a nice thing over here is that this is variable ANC, so you can adjust the level of the noise cancellation that you want. Another thing you can do is you can turn on automatic switch to ambient sound, and this you can do if the earbuds detect any voice, so if you start speaking, but also you can turn on siren detect. So if there's any siren that is detected, then it's going to turn on ambient mode. And you can also turn on ambient sound during calls if you would like the self voice or the ability to hear yourself when you're speaking, which is great to have if you're on a phone call. Otherwise, you're going to find yourself yelling. Under sound quality and effects, here is where you see the equalizer. So there's the option for the adaptive EQ, and this is where the sensors and the microphones are going to continuously be monitoring your fit in your ear, shape, size, and whatnot to adjust the EQ dynamically. Or if you want a more traditional equalizer, this is where you can manually adjust different frequencies or select a couple of predefined EQs like bass boost, smooth, dynamic, clear, treble, or you can create your own custom equalizer. Then you have some options under earbud controls. So by default, you have the media controls, which you can control by pinching or double or triple pinching the stem or the blade, or swiping up and down for volume, as you can see. And then you can customize the pinch and hold for both the left and the right earbuds, either to control noise controls or to activate Bigsby. And here a nice thing is you can select which noise controls you want. So in the current setting or the default one, it cycles between active noise cancellation and ambient sound. But if you also want to cycle through adaptive ambient sound or even off, you can do that. You can also change the settings of the earbud light control from blinking, fade in and fade out, or steady. Under the earbud settings, here is where you can turn on voice controls, and these are actually pretty nice. So if you just say volume up, you're gonna see up here, it's gonna increase the volume, or if I say volume down, there you go, without the need to use any wake-up words. Under in-ear detection, you can switch calls to phone when both earbuds are removed, and you can also turn on pausing media when one earbud is removed, which for some reason is turned off by default. So here are my thoughts on the Buds 3 Pro. I really like them. Obviously, if you are in the Apple ecosystem, I wouldn't particularly recommend you getting these, although you can, and they can connect to your iPhone and you can use them, but you do lose a lot of the different functionalities or features as there is no wearable app on iOS. So either you have to work with only the default settings that you get, which means you don't get adaptive ambient mode, you cannot vary the level of noise cancellation, you don't get voice commands, and you also cannot customize what the force sensor on each bud does. And you don't get the EQ either, unless you have access to an Android. So if you have a second phone, which is an Android, and you really want the Buds 3 Pro, you can set them up on the Android. And then of course the settings that you enable are going to remain enabled, even if you use them on an iPhone. Even the voice commands, which only works with compatible phones, I was surprised that once I activated that or turned on that feature on my Samsung, and then I used them on my iPhone, I was able to continue using voice commands to play music, increase the volume, and etc. But if you are in the Samsung ecosystem and are looking for buds, I think these are excellent. I was very impressed with how well they sounded. I was also extremely impressed with how well the call quality is, especially in a noisy environment. That was very impressive and probably amongst the best call quality of any buds that I have tested. And of course, the noise cancellation works really well. And I'm happy that there are a few other bells and whistles like adaptive ambient mode and variable ANC, which are nice to have. So I think I absolutely love these. If you're in the Samsung ecosystem and in the market for buds, I don't think you can go wrong with these. They're very impressive, and I was very happy with everything about them. Let me know in the comments section what you thought about the Samsung Buds 3 Pro. If you've tried them, what you liked or did not like. I'll put links in the description to the product page of the Buds 3 Pro. If you do decide to buy them, these are affiliate links. I would appreciate if you would go through these links. I may earn a small commission on some purchases at no extra cost to you. This will greatly help support the channel. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, please hit the like button and consider subscribing to my channel, as this encourages me to continue producing content. Until next time, cheers.